So any gap, lag, or delay in your ability to monitor your metrics is just costing you money. That's it. It is costing you money. So if you love giving away money, if you want to put money out in front and have the garbage man take it away, don't monitor your metrics whatsoever. You're all good.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, Chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
And we have a special guest with us. We got a superstar in the profession, as we like to say up here in Boston, a good friend, a colleague, a business partner of mine. We've done multiple projects together, and it's a real pleasure to have such an awesome chiropractor and business mind, a fellow CEO on the call with us today. It's Dr. Jeff Langmaid. Dr. Jeff, what's up, brother?
Not much. I am super happy to be here. I am a frequent listener, love the business content that you are helping with, and I'm happy to contribute today.
I love Jeff for many reasons, but one of them is that he's the only guy I know who has more emails than I do. and I don't mean those that are collecting in my inbox. I mean actual email addresses. Jeff, man, you got a lot going on, brother. And I love that about you. Your tendrils reach all over our awesome profession. We all love chiropractic and we all love the business of chiropractic. So whoever's listening right now is blessed because they're going to get a really unique perspective. So, Dr. Jeff is all over the place in the chiropractic profession, great clinical knowledge, right? So great technical knowledge around the what's going on with technology in diagnostics in chiropractic in that space. So living there, has a business there. He's probably best known as the smart chiropractor, the evidence-based chiropractor as a business. I know him best through Chiro Matchmakers and really with his marketing genius, bringing that to Chiro Matchmakers and Ideal Team when it comes to team building and placement. And then we've got Patient Pilot, which is a patient education and communications company. So Jeff, we are all over this profession. And I love the fact that your purview allows you to be looking at all these different, let's call them verticals inside of chiropractic. So you're going to bring many flavors to this conversation, and we're going to drill you on this, right? So we want to know, what are you learning? Here we are halfway through the year. What are you learning in the first half of 2024? Q1, Q2 is behind us. What's going on now in this space? What's going on now in chiropractic? And I think we should just jump from business to business to business, because each one of them has probably come with its own set of lessons learned. Dr. Pete, for our note takers, get ready. We're going to be all over the map today. And I know we've got the smart chiropractor here, man. So I know he's going to deliver on his namesake.
One of the things I'm excited to hear about from you, Doc, and I know Dr. Stephen just gave you like a bunch of things to talk about, but I actually wanted to, just from an audience perspective, just to know a little bit about your story. I think it's always important. I always love listening to people's story because you didn't get into multiple verticals in businesses just by accident. I mean, you have been very intentional in your decisions and very strategic in how you are, just from my conversations with you. So from a CEO's mind, I always like listening to a CEO and how you arrived at certain places, making certain decisions. So before we get to all of that, I just really quick, let our audience know who you are, a little bit about kind of how you even moved into this space and where you're at, because you're serving our profession in so many ways, important ways. And you really have a heart for the docs, heart for their profession or their teams, all those things. So I selfishly would love for you to just start there, if that's cool. And then we can get after maybe an update on where we're at in 2024, like Dr. Stephen said. So if that's cool, I'd love to start there.
I would be happy to. So the short version is this. So my great-grandfather was a chiropractor. I'm like, man, this is a short version. This guy's starting 120 years ago. It'll be brief. So my great-grandfather was a chiropractor in the 1920s. He went to Palmer when BJ was still teaching there. Fast forward about 80 some odd years. That was kind of the lineage that brought me into chiropractic. And my father just having, the traditional chiropractic, low back issue, goes to a chiropractor, gets well, continues to be seen by that chiropractor. And that's what stimulated my interest. I always was very interested in being in healthcare, as a doctor, as a physician. I was always super interested in business. My mom used to call me Alex P. Keaton, for anybody that remembers Family Ties. That's
Oh
that
yeah,
old
J. Fox,
as maybe
baby.
we are. So it was kind of a combination of those things. And when I graduated school, I've basically done just about everything you can. I was an associate for about 6 months in that doc, who was my father's chiropractor practice. I had my own practice, cash-based boutique practice for about 5 years, downtown Providence. Then that kind of split, and that was where my life changed, where I joined an orthopedic group. Super weird. This is before the VA had chiropractors, probably one of like 20 chiropractors in the world at that time practicing in a true ortho group. Then joined an even larger group to build out their conservative care arm. And that's when, from that jumping point in 2018, I had met a lot of people, started to build a brand. And that's really what led me to today, which is, as you guys have highlighted, I'm fortunate to be involved in a variety of different businesses inside and outside the profession. And I guess to tie that up in terms of some lessons learned, I think, persistence and diligence come to mind for me in terms of, strategically meeting people, getting out there. It doesn't happen overnight. And from my perspective, one of the key attributes of this has been protecting your confidence as a CEO, as a business owner, doing everything you can to protect your confidence. That means inputting the right things, whether that's podcast, videos, food, exercise. Those things can't be overstated in terms of importance. And with that, as you add in persistence and diligence, as I say, luck is preparation meets opportunity, which is 100% true. The things start to blossom over time. And in my mind, that's really been when I look back and say, how did I get from there to here? That's really the common thread, or as Dr. Stephen would like to say, the red thread that goes throughout all of that, is really doing everything I can to protect my confidence, everything I can to keep pushing the ball forward, and everything I can to have the persistence day in and day out to work harder, to build that relationship, to get that project shipped. And it's amazing, as everybody knows, the amount that you can get done in 1 year is so great, while the amount that you can get done in 1 day, everybody probably overestimates. So, showing up each and every day, listening to podcasts like this, with you guys being able to distill down the most important aspects for business owners, goes right in with protecting confidence, right into growth and development, and I think is so critically important. And I'm happy to hop into some 2024 trends as well.
Man, protecting the confidence of the founder, the entrepreneur, the service provider. Man, I just want to sit with that for a minute, because that's one of those invisible and unspoken, it just does not get said enough, right? So I'm so glad that you brought that to the surface, Jeff. What a beautiful place to start this conversation, because, as Dr. Pete and I like to continually remind everybody, listen, this is wicked hard, but it's worth it, right? And people have to hear that, like, because, who ends up speaking on podcasts? It's typically people that are, successful in some measure, right? So, everyone's looking at this person and be like, oh man, and we make these assumptions. I think we've got these positive bias that God gives us in our nervous system to keep us moving forward, which is, they look and be like, oh man, it must be easier for them. They must be more talented than me. They must be smarter than me, or they work harder than me, right? So there's all these assumptions. I know I make them. When you look at another business, oh, they must be better at that than we are. That comes easier to them, or more talented, whatever it is. It's like, it's amazing how we just make those assumptions. The truth is that we're all just in the battle, right? We're all on our walk, and everybody's just human beings just doing their best. So I don't know who needed to hear that today out there. Probably all of us. Just as a reminder, it's like, listen, guys, if this feels hard to you, it's because it is, right? This is really hard, right? So, we always punctuate that with, but it's worth it, because we know the truth is, we think it's our premise that you're going to spend just as much time, energy, focus, and money throughout your career. And you've got one of two choices one of two paths to take, right? The choice is, do I take path A or path B? Is it, do I go through a creative process where I'm manifesting my vision story of what success looks like for me? Or do I spend my time, energy, focus, and money, the same amount, playing problem whack-a-mole, right? Which is equally difficult, right? It's very hard not to do it. The opportunity cost of not walking out your purpose and your vision is huge. So, Jeff, what a great sort of entree point, to say, listen, you've got to protect your confidence, because it's not a question of if you're going to get your ass kicked. It's exactly how are you going to get your ass kicked today? And in what form is it? And in how many times is that going to come at you today? And it's just part of it, right? So let's just start this conversation there and just recognize it is just part of it. So I'm curious, Jeff, what's been the hardest part of it, in 2024? Like, this is a lesson learned conversation, right? So, man, the world is dynamic, isn't it? This, success is a moving target. And when you have, let's call out 3 different businesses that you spend most of your time in, you've got 3 moving targets, right? So, and all of those things are dynamic. So it's not triple, it's cubed, right? The amount of potential ass kickings you're going to receive on a day-to-day basis. Am I right? So let's start with the evidence-based chiropractor. Like, as a business, you're in the business of, providing what I would consider the fodder for certainty for chiropractors, right? So it's like, I'm going to make it easy for you to consume all of the great information that's coming out from research. So I'm going to democratize it. I'm going to make it more approachable. I'm going to distill it down for you. I'm going to translate it for you. I'm going to get it to you. I'm going to keep it in front of you. Jeff, I'm a big fan, bro. But I love the fact that what you're doing is you're making it easier for chiropractors to consume the information that buttresses their certainty, that builds their conviction, that creates clarity. And we know that certainty plus conviction plus clarity equals confidence. So you opened us up with confidence. Thank you for doing that. What are you seeing in this space now? What's going on first half of the year?
Yeah, a couple things that come to mind for me, and it really ties into what I've learned, I think can really be applied to every business owner listening. And it's the clarity on communication. As you discussed, when I'm reviewing, for instance, a research paper with the evidence-based chiropractor, man, it's like so brutal. It's like so hard to read. Like, they're not written in like English practically. They are brutal. Now, I'm sure the person that wrote that paper was like, oh, this is clear as day. But I sit there and attempt in my best way to be able to translate it. And the lesson that I would put forth to all the business owners is the amount of knowledge you have about what you do, and specifically within chiropractic, how the body works, is so great in comparison to the knowledge level of those people stepping in your front door and the people that might have even been with you 5 or 10 years. It doesn't mean that they've learned as much as you think they have. So being able to have clear communication, as we say, be clear, not clever. You can have fun. You can certainly make things interesting, but the clarity of the communication that you provide as a business owner, externally through your digital marketing, internally at your workshops, wherever you are at your table talk in the adjustatorium, when you are communicating with your patients, trying to take the understanding of, I'm trying to move them 1 step at a time, not 2 steps. They're going to fall off the ladder, not 3 steps, but just 1 step at a time, is a really critical component. And we all get this curse of knowledge where we almost forget how much we know, and we can talk in jargon so quickly. It's extensive websites, etc. as well. But really, I'm going to say one of the lessons that I've learned in the start of this year with the evidence-based chiropractor, I think is really applicable, is to think about, analyze, audit the communication that you have digitally, internally, wherever you are communicating externally with patients, and ensure that you are actually framing things in a way that helps them understand, that helps showcase you as their guide, and helps take them 1 step closer to their goals. Because the more that you're able to do that, the more your business can grow and develop, and ultimately by leaps and bounds, because everything boils down to communication.
So powerful. Man, I'm getting so much out of our time with you today. It's just, there's so many just nuggets and things that you're dropping that are absolute gold. Being clear, not clever. Dr. Steven and I did a podcast a few weeks back in regards to, who's your muse. And we talked about that and how important it is, when you're communicating. And I love that your message to this noisy marketplace we are in 2024 is be clear. And, in this day and age where, how do you get the eyeballs and the ears and the attention of the audience? And you here saying to us today, be clear. I love that. And sometimes being clear is it feels less exciting, less sexy. It's like, wait, so you want me to continue to say the same thing, again and again, and just be clear about the things that they need to be clear about, and the simple things that are true that I know, but I'd rather tell them this amazing thing that's brand new. No. Keep it simple. Keep it clear. I think that's so powerful for us as leaders, as CEOs. Number one, for communicating with our patients, to reaching our community through marketing, but equally as a CEO listening, to leading your team as well. It comes back to that clarity and that consistency in your communication. And it's actually about doing the little things consistently well over time. That's actually what creates the impact and the growth. So I would love for you to, share with us just a little bit. And this is more in your ability to communicate with people, reaching the market, because you were actually able to infiltrate what we might call more of the allopathic model when you did that, which actually stimulated this. And, for a lot of us as chiropractors listening, marketing into the marketplace, speaking into the listening of the people, you've actually had the ability to do that in a way where, quote unquote, you won them over. They actually included you. You were brought into and seen as part of a multidisciplinary team. Can you talk a little bit about how we communicate into the marketplace to the listening of the people in a way where you actually build bridges, where you actually build better connections, build those relationships with key leaders in the community around you? Because ultimately, when it comes to the marathon race, we have to be better at doing that. Can you share a little bit about that with our CEOs and how they can improve potentially in this area, moving forward from the second half of this year, even into the years ahead?
For sure. That's a fantastic question. A couple things come to mind for me right off the bat. One is really understanding the age-old proposition of kind of what's in it for them, right? So when you're going to the table, we all want to talk about chiropractic and scream it from the rooftops, which is critically important. However, again, understanding where is that other person and what's in it for them. And it doesn't always have to be monetary, right? But there can be credibility, there can be networking, there can be relationships, there can be whatever it might be. But understanding how do you benefit the other party. Also understanding that not everybody's going to be your dance partner. That's totally cool. If everybody that you went out to and talked to was like your best friend, there'd probably be something wrong with you. It's like, it's normal to be like, oh, well, I just didn't get on with that person, but don't take it to heart. And I find that a lot of chiropractors, especially if they first start getting out to other healthcare providers specifically, if they get a lukewarm or a negative reaction, getting back to confidence, it can like shake your confidence. You're like, oh man, it just makes you not feel good. That's a normal human emotion. But to answer your question super specifically, Dr. P, I'd say now when I have a negative interaction with another healthcare provider, I'm actually super jazzed because I'm like, now I know. Think about not knowing and having referred 50 patients to them throughout your career, or not be able to divert your patients who are saying, I'm thinking about going to see Dr. Blank. You have to know these things. This is part about being a good doctor, teacher, educator, right? The heart of what we are and what we do as teachers and educators. So understanding what's in it for them as you're speaking with others, protecting that confidence and understanding that not everybody's going to be for you, I think is another key component of this. And if you want to build those bridges out there in your community, also, and you guys discussed this, deeply, and I think we're going to go here next, but understanding your data, right? It's going to take some time, and you want to monitor and track your success, because you might have 20 good meetings and then one bad one, it leaves you a pit in your stomach. But if you don't look at the data, you're left with the pit in your stomach instead of understanding, wow, we are doing a great job in understanding where we're going. That's why I love, a lot of the vital signs that Remarkable Practice recommends to CEOs in their practices, is because you start to get a real understanding of how is your business, how is your practice performing. And it takes a lot of that gut work and guesswork out of it, which is critically important, especially with the changing, shifting, quicksandy relationship with paid advertising, marketing. As you start to spend money beyond just the relationship alone, you have to be able to narrow in on that data. Otherwise, you're just going to have a difficult time. And quite frankly, you're going to put yourself at a dramatic disadvantage compared to anybody else out there. So those are a few critical things that come to mind for me.
All right. So you guys brought up a couple of things, and Jeff, you knew there was no way I was going to let you get off this interview without making you pull back the curtain and let us look behind this, the marketing mystique. So you and I have done a lot of work together in the team building space through Ideal Team and Chiro Matchmakers in the marketing of in the incredibly complex world of team building, right? So in recruitment and placement, staffing, there's this double step of educating the customer, educating the marketplace, and educating the consumer, and then selling, right? So it's just like, so the marketing really is about increasing readiness, right? So, and there are the stages of readiness, right? That I think it was Eugene Schwartz first introduced to us, right? So it was, from the person has no idea that they have a problem, to at least they're problem aware, to at least they're aware that they need a solution, to they have an idea of what's available in solutions in the marketplace, to right down to a product that they're looking for and a brand that they're going to buy from, right? So there's like these degrees of readiness where people show up for a sales conversation. And, that's the art and science of marketing, right? So, at the end of the day, first educating the marketplace, what a lift that is to make sure that you are preparing the potential customer to have an intelligent conversation around, we can help you solve your problems, we can help you reach your goals. Help us understand, like, how is that happening today in this, like you said, this ever shifting, ever changing, incredibly complex world of just capturing earballs and eyeballs, of the marketplace right now. It's hard to find people, it's hard to get in front of people. And then the chance of you getting in front of them at the right time with the right message. I think you can hear the pain in my voice right here. It's amazing. And I always say to myself, man, I spend too much time thinking about talking about marketing. I want to get over to what I love, which is delivery. I'm a problem solver. And it's like, well, I guess that is a problem. Marketing is a problem. It's like, I would rather spend my time delivering the marketing, which is why I keep you close, Jeff. What have you learned first half of the year? What's going on?
A couple things I think are really important from a CEO perspective that I'm going to encourage everybody to keep an eye on. And number one is having the right team. You alluded to it, but this is really, really important. All of us have different skill sets, and all of us really have an opportunity to lean into other people's skill sets, and the opportunity to tap in to resources beyond just the circle of your community is better than today than it's ever been before. So even if you're in like a small town and you're like, man, like the talent level for XYZ, which I know should get done, it's just really hard to find in my area. That's actually now is the time, because you can literally access people that are really college educated specialists that have high skill levels all around the world. And that is something that all of us as business owners need to be looking at and looking for, because we all have these laundry lists of things that we know should get done, but keep falling off. And typically that's because of either bandwidth issues on your team, or it's because of skill issues on your team. So if you need skill or you need to increase bandwidth, hiring a specialist is a fantastic way to do it. And quite frankly, I'll just say it bluntly, you don't need to be held hostage to just those, two people in town, right? That you can actually play the market dynamics in your favor by being able to lean into, again, college educated specialists all around the world. But the second component of that, that's also, I'm going to say, just as, if not more important, is also understanding, I'll go back to the data, is understanding what are you trying to do and ensuring that you keep an eye on those items. And this is hard, I feel like, for a lot of CEOs out there, right? It's like, getting your numbers dialed in weekly can sometimes be one of those items that falls off your plate, ironically, when that's actually what needs to be done to drive your other decisions. It's not easy. But having those metrics, being able to, if you are working with a coach, for instance, being able to come to the plate every time you're communicating with your data and metrics helps them help you be more successful. It helps you help your team be more successful. And that's something that I think is really, really important, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it'd be like, oh, you're going to place a Yellow Pages ad, you're going to run it for a year. You'd be like, all right, I'll check on that next year, right? And I was like, totally normal. I'm going to run a billboard. I'm running it for 18 months. So I'm paying for it one way or the other. I'm just going to let it ride. Now, literally things change day in and day out. So monitoring your metrics on a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a quarterly, and a yearly basis, while not the sexiest thing in the world for most business owners, is a critical component of it, because it really helps you be more successful. And with everybody knows things are changing faster than they ever were before. So any gap, lag, or delay in your ability to monitor your metrics is just costing you money. That's it. It is costing you money. So if you love giving away money, if you want to put money out in front and have the garbage man take it away, don't monitor your metrics whatsoever. You're all good. But if you actually care about building a business, about being fiscally responsible, about reinvesting in your people and your practice, about having a great life, you have to do it, because it's the foundation for everything.
Wow. You added another layer, and then you took out your little chisel and hammer and just started hammering it down a lot further. So I was like, wow, there's a lot more underneath there. That was well said. And I think, from the emotional standpoint, we like to say we use 2 parts of data and 1 part gut when we make decisions. You're not only talking about making decisions based on data and gut, you're talking about the cadence of visibility and the sensitivity to the data being delivered and then discerned, and then making decisions and making the adjustments that are necessary at a higher frequency. I love the analogies you gave with the yellow page and the billboards versus what we're doing now on online or in our emails or even internally in our office, but definitely in the digital space. Dr. Stephen, you talked about this as well. And Jeff, you made this as one of your key points, which was leveraging the genius of someone else, right? We don't have to be awesome at everything. You just need to have a team that's awesome at everything. And I think sometimes we don't even know, maybe CEOs don't know what the thing that they're not awesome at is. And that's what, again, coaching and maybe provides some of the, these podcasts maybe expose some of these things. Can you talk about practically from a CEO's seat, where some of the gaps are that you're seeing? Because marketing isn't only to, people that are in the marketplace who don't know you yet, but it's also marketing to people that actually have already said hello to you. They know, love, and trust you. They've just maybe left you, and you've been introducing our tribe, our community of Remarkable to one of your businesses that's called Patient Pilot. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about that specifically when it comes to, you talked about leveraging the genius of other people. You talked about the opportunity that's around you. You talked about bandwidth issues. You talked about a lot of these things, and it's like, hey, there's some opportunity that's right in front of you right now. And Patient Pilot, I believe, provides a solution and a point of leverage for many of our CEOs. Can you talk a bit about that and the opportunity that's present to doctors even now?
Yeah, I'll geek out on this briefly. And one is, I love controllable marketing assets. Unfortunately, I don't own Meta. I don't own Google. It'd be nice if I did. I'd make some different decisions, but I don't. But what I do own is my email list and my text list and my list of people who have already said yes in the past. Dr. Stevenism I use all the time. Best predictor of tomorrow's weather is today's weather. So who is most likely to come into your practice tomorrow is somebody who came in yesterday or today, because you've built that know, like, and trust factor. This is the same listening as a CEO, whether you have a chiropractic focused business, whether you have a high revenue niche focused business, or whether you're outside the chiropractic space. All of this holds true for most businesses most of the time. 90+% of your patient base, client base, member base is inactive. Really quick math on that is say, how long you've been in practice, how many people you've seen? I don't know, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. Great. How many unique people, not visits, how many unique human beings have bought your service in the last 30 days? Well, a couple hundred. Great. What happened to the other 9,900 of them, right? And that's right. Where you can do some quick math and just say, man, 90%, 95%, 98%, we see this all the time, of many chiropractic patients are inactive, which is a travesty because, one, we provide lifetime care. Two, patients that go into chiropractors have like a 95% satisfaction rate. It like blows everything, a double every other healthcare profession. So it's like, what is the gap there? And the gap is communication. The gap is not consistently reaching out. So with Patient Pilot, we're a patient reactivation system that makes it easy to continually reach out, see who's opening your emails. Some people will just click, hop right back on your schedule. We connect all online schedulers. Or you get a hot list of everybody who has opened your emails, so you know who's engaging with your practice instead of just relying on the last time that they were seen. And that is going to yield you better results. But I love the combination of thinking about how do you take great messaging. We kind of highlighted some of that communication, right? We always think teach and invite consistently. Teach, educate, inspire, entertain. Invite, that's your call to action. Do it consistently. That means weekly. When you put that together in a controllable marketing asset, email, you control the list, direct communication with your people. And then you solve a problem for them and for you. For them is that they either got well, fell out of care, didn't get as well as they hoped, fell out of care, or life just got in the way. And their problem is gravity and time are undefeated. Yeah, they're still living, right? They are under gravity and under time, load, stress. And that's an issue. And you are a solve for that issue. But you're only a solve for that issue if they know when and how to say yes. And when you show up teaching and inviting instead of discounting and annoying, it frames you and your practice in a dramatically different way. And you don't need 9,000 reactivations next month to be successful. You start tagging on 3, 5, 10 per month, you're making a more meaningful difference in the health of your community. You're making a significantly meaningful difference. No cost of acquisition, no conversion metrics. These are people who already know who you are, what you do. They know to like and trust you. They're coming in to receive care. That is sheer profit into your business. That is why, in my opinion, patient reactivations are one of the fundamental opportunities in so many chiropractic practices, is that it's a majority of your people are inactive. All you have to do is reach out and touch them consistently, make sure you're communicating in an appropriate way, teach and invite consistently. And what do you know? Good things start to happen. So that's been a big focus of ours. And again, for all CEOs listening, I'd encourage you to look at, regardless of your different businesses and different product lines, because I know there's a lot of high-level CEOs listening and other CEOs that are climbing the ranks and getting into various businesses. This is something that's applicable across all businesses. Your client and consumer list, your inactive patient list, as we'd call it within chiropractic, is the most valuable asset. When used, it's worth zilch. If unused, it has unlimited topside when put into action. And that's always through the lens of what's in it for them, clearly communicating and looking at the data. Man, I tidied them all up there.
Man, I'll tell you what, the reactivation is always the biggest blind spot in the business building conversation. You know, everybody wants to talk about, hey, I want to go out there and find lots of new leads, and I want to nurture those leads, and I want to turn them all into day ones and sales conversations. Yes, 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 and yes, right? So, you know, the truth is that so many people are out there trying to boil the ocean and find a potential possible new. Meanwhile, right here at home, you've got a list of qualified buyers of buyers. We know that they use chiropractic. Why? They've been in your office before, or whatever your business is, right? So they use your services. They know who you are and where you are. Why? Because they've been your customer before, right? And you know the expression, 95% of people that leave us love us. I heard that from CJ Mertz once. Man, did I need to hear that, right? So it's like, this ain't about you. It's about them. Go get them. You're the mission-driven person. You've got a beautiful list of all these people that have raised their hand and said, man, I want to use your services, and proven that they do. It is a blind spot. I mean, it's just the idea of putting a system in place where you are going right back to that on a very regular basis, where it doesn't become a project, it becomes a process. The project is get it in place. The process is keep it going. Consistency is the new intensity, Dr. Pete and I say all the time. So here's what I heard, because I would like to put a bow on it, Dr. Pete, is because I'm sitting there, if I were the listener and I didn't know Jeff, right? So I've been watching Jeff for years, and I know your secret, Jeff. Your secret is leverage, right? Because everybody around you knows that you are practicing what you preach, and you're preaching what you practice, and you're leveraging. And it usually sounds something like this. I have an assistant and I have an operator, right? So for each one of these businesses, like Jeff's not up to his earballs, like doing everything himself, right? So it's like, he's got an operator and an assistant that helps keep it all organized, right? So, and then you start leveraging things like virtual assistants, right? So it's like, how can you afford to have these, you know, teams of people doing all these things? It's like, well, a virtual assistant can be somebody who's remote, who is college educated, speaks English, right? So I've got that person that's tracking my metrics in my metric reporting system. And now I have the data flowing to me, not through me. So now I have my data covered by that person at a 1/3 or 1/2 of the cost, right? And then now that I have the data, I'm making better decisions. I have that information, hand that over to my marketing assistant, who again is a fractional marketing manager that I've trained up and is running my marketing. And again, that could be somebody who's remote and you're leveraging that person, right, Jeff? So now, now we're building this team out, and you are up and above this business, running and leading this business, and with a team of people that are helping you run a data-driven business across all three of these. Now, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jeff, but your secret's out because I've been watching you do it. The idea of running 3 businesses successfully, making a bigger impact, making a bigger income. And meanwhile, I've also spent time in your home with your beautiful family, and seeing the girls so happy in Tampa. And you're such a great husband, such a great dad. I'm proud to call you my friend, and to see you do it in a way that you truly living out the remarkable practice, man. So, or the remarkable life, I should say, and running a remarkable business that supports that remarkable life, not competes with it. So, well done, Dr. Jeff. You're a remarkable guy.
My pleasure. And I'll give you guys a shout out for any of the docs listening, and maybe they're new to the remarkable practice. And it sounds like a lot, right? Building a team is not easy, but I have never seen it put together in a way that I've seen with the remarkable practice. So if you've never attended, again, one of your immersion events, and you've never connected with a coach to have a conversation, and sometimes that can seem intimidating. I'm a recovering do-it-aller, right? So we all probably started there, but having the systems, the frameworks is so critically important. We touched on and highlighted some of them today, but I'd encourage everybody that's listening to dive deeper into some of the podcasts you put out, some of the resources you put out, or to connect with a coach. If you're really looking to build that team, if you're looking to launch, grow, scale, and eventually exit that business, you need to have the teams, the systems, and the processes. And you can fast track your success. You can get there faster by leaning into the knowledge of others. And you guys have just give a special shout out. You guys have just done an awesome job highlighting that consistently, and how pragmatically the CEOs, chiropractors listening can install that into their practice. So well done, and I'm happy to contribute.
Thanks for the recognition and the endorsement, Dr. Jeff. We so appreciate you, man. Thank you for making it easier for us to help more people. That's a big deal to us, man. We do consider you one of our remarkable experts and a great success partner. So God bless, brother.
Thank you.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
Hey, Remarkables. It's Dr. Kale here. Today, I'm honored to be in our studio with Dr. Erik Kowalke from SKED. SKED is one of our remarkable success partners, and they are great at enhancing practices. So I'm super pumped to be here today with you, Dr. Erik. It's an honor. We have an amazing CEO audience with us here today, and some of them may know who you are. Some of them may not, right? They may not be familiar with you. So I'd love you to take a moment or two, introduce yourself, help us to get to know the expert in the room a little bit. Tell us a bit about your story, and then what has led to us ultimately being here today, having a chat.
Awesome. Well, great to be here. And if you're listening to this, you are looking to grow your chiropractic clinic and be a better leader. I think Dr. Franson, Dr. Pete, and Dr. Kale have done a great job putting all this content together. So thank you guys for doing that in the service to the profession. I'm a chiropractor first and foremost, husband, father of 6 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We have two locations, 2 clinics, cumulatively seeing 16 to 1,800 visits a week, family wellness based practice. And we just have a passion for serving families and getting chiropractic care out to the masses. And we founded SKED back in 2016 to help us run our practice more efficiently. How do we save time? We were in 1,300 square feet, seeing 1,000 a week in that practice, and we had no room for one more team member. Virtual assistants didn't exist, and there was no technology that was a patient app or automated texting solutions or anything that we needed to do. And we solved the problem. We created SKED for that purpose, and it's just grown into a technology that really helps us save time, saves us time as doctors, saves our team time, and generates revenue back into the practice through really intelligent automations and connecting data sources that we have to patient experience. And we really make it a win-win. What I think I love about SKED is every dollar we invest back into the company, and we only serve chiropractic, helps not only the practice run more efficiently, but it's a win for the patient as well, which is unique about our software. Most, an EHR company really isn't interacting at all with the patient. And our software interacts with 500,000 patients on a monthly basis. And we actually support all of those patients. So if a patient has a problem logging in or scheduling, something in the app, our team supports them. So we're supporting 500,000 chiropractic patients on a monthly basis, which is really cool. And it makes their life easier and makes it more convenient for them to access chiropractic care on a regular, consistent basis, which is part of our mission, is just spreading chiropractic care. And I'm happy to be here and go through some of the things that we've been working on.
Awesome, man. I love that. I knew you had some kids. I didn't know you had a half a baseball team.
Yeah, six, 3 boys, 3 girls.
So no doubt you needed to save some time and be efficient when you invented or when you developed SKED. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I think you did speak to this a little bit just in terms of what you do specifically or what SKED does. But every business exists to solve a problem, right? And your business obviously is to help busy chiropractors help more people. Can you tell the listeners specifically what SKED does to do that? How you do that?
Yeah. And if you tell a chiropractor, hey, there's this new software that's really helping us, they're like, the last thing I need is one more software. The last thing I need is one more thing that I have to manage. Well, I'm the same way. I'm literally the chiropractor, and we're creating the software. And what's great about SKED is it's not something that creates another platform that you need to manage consistently in order for it to work. It's really automating it. So I'll just start high level. Patient communication is how do we advance and improve our ability to communicate with the people that come into our practice? And that's through texting, that's through push notifications, which is in every single mobile device now, and through really smart automated email processes. The one thing that we do really unique is we create automated systems that feel personalized. I want every text message that comes to a patient of mine to feel like somebody in my office actually typed it and sent it. Because we're a family. People think of our office like a family. They come in like they're part of our family. We've seen them for years, and most chiropractors run their offices that way. Mm-hmm. So if they feel like there's this cold automated messaging platform that the chiropractor just happens to be using, that changes the feel of the office. And do they still trust you when they get all these messages? And if they're wrong, or they send them at the wrong time, or the wrong appointment code, or asking them to do something that, tell them they missed when they actually didn't miss, they were already in the office. And so we've done a really good job making sure our system is reliable and provides that patient experience through communication. So what's the most convenient thing for our office is the first question we said. Is if somebody needs to move an appointment today by 15 minutes either way, or they can't come in this morning because their kid is sick and couldn't go to school, or they're on their field trip with their son or something that popped up last minute and they want to come this afternoon, let's provide the most convenient experience for them, which is to jump on the patient app, find the time, move the time, reschedule. Yeah. Because if they want to call us, we're not open at 6 a.m. when they find out that their schedule changed. And so let's create the most convenient experience for them. Meanwhile, all the settings on the back end are the same as if we would train a team member in the office. So they can't move it where it doesn't work or it's going to screw up our schedule. So we call that overbook protection. Basically, it's set up so if our schedule ever gets screwed up, it's because one of my team members manually put an appointment in or changed something that they shouldn't have done. If it's done through SKED, it just never screws up.
That's a good thing.
Yes. So that was the first one. It's how do we make the experience more convenient for the patient? And we mastered that through scheduling. Doesn't matter what services you provide, how many providers, certain people work in part-time shifts, certain days. doing different services that only see certain people. Like every chiropractic office runs a little bit differently. And we have such a dynamic system that you can literally customize to any scenario that you run your practice. I think that's very unique. The second one is just like a white glove experience from our team. I'm a busy chiropractor that's running 2 companies. We have 7 chiropractors in our facility. I don't have time to manage an entire software platform. So when we built the SKED team, we said, okay, guys, you're going to do this for the chiropractors. Like, set it all up for them. If they have a problem and they're like, hey, can you set up my appointment reminder for such and such? Absolutely. We'll set it up. We'll do whatever we got to do. So I think that support and knowing that you're working with a team of people that has your best interest and is committed to making sure that your experience for your office is exceptional is what makes us stand above and beyond. And then there's just a whole series of features we created to automate processes and systems and data transfer. Like we have a digital forms product that just pushes your forms into your EHR for you. We have automated reactivation campaigns that can basically take over reactivating existing patients for you all automatically. Portals that you can get new patients from online, trivia questions and smart reply questions. So if you're finding like people keep asking me about shoulder exercises in the adjusting room and I'm showing them how to do that, or my associate is taking too much time showing them how to stretch their shoulder, we can just create a PDF on how to stretch shoulder and have the patient text shoulder, and it'll automatically send them a message and a PDF and a picture on what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. So just all these really cool technological automations that free us up and save us time and allow us to focus on what we do best.
That's cool, man. Listen, I can speak to that a little bit as a user, right? I'm a relatively recent user in the last year of SKED, and I think you guys have just struck such a nice balance between automation and personalization. Like I was nervous about that, particularly around the scheduling. Giving up control of our schedule felt,
yes,
it was a bit nerve-wracking for me. I'm sure you've experienced that. But it's been seamless. It was pretty cool. And so it's saved my team hours on the phone every week, right? Like it's literally saving us hours. And I'm glad that we're doing this call today, because I've learned a couple things that I didn't know that SKED did that I'm going to go back to my team today, talk to them about, so that we can save a little bit of additional time and resources. So I did notice too that the onboarding process was daunting a little bit at first because of all the complexity. We have a complex office, as you alluded to, lots of different practitioners doing different things. But you guys, it was a great job onboarding. So I really appreciated that.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad. Thanks for the feedback. And I think what you just said is can't be underestimated. Like saving my team hours of time. You talk to any chiropractor, what's your biggest struggle in practice? It's team. It's like finding good people and trusting them and getting them to show up. And inevitably, they're all going to make a mistake because they're human. So where can I leverage their time? And like, what if your team could save hours of time every week? What could they be doing for you to help build your business? Talk to the people that are coming in and retain them and educate them and internal referrals. There's like plenty of work to do if we could free them up from doing, repetitive, mundane things, especially phones. Like phones is just a constant. If your front desk is on the phone, the people's experience coming in and leaving goes down. They're like, this person's on the phone, I can't talk to them. Or like, I'll talk to you later. You're like literally losing revenue from that experience.
So could you speak to that specifically? Because, we're all wearing a CEO hat, the people on this call, generally speaking. And so as CEOs, we want to know about the return on investment we're going to get. So I'm curious if you could just speak to that, specifically, if you have any metrics or stats that demonstrate when someone implements your program, here's what you might expect from a return on investment standpoint.
Yeah. So here's the best one I could think of, which is let's just talk pure show up rate. So in our office, we measure 2 metrics, kept visit percentage and show up rate. So kept visit percentage, just round numbers. Let's say I show up on Monday and I have 100 people on the schedule. If 80 of those 100 come in, then I have an 80% kept visit percentage.
Yeah.
So prior to SKED and using this technology, we would be, 85%, probably 85 to 90% of people would come in that were on the schedule that day. And then we get like 5% that just walk in. You know, somebody that hurt themselves and they just walk in. And then like a couple people that call that day that, hey, I hurt myself, can I come in? And so we'd be anywhere between 90 to 95% show up rate by the end of the day is what we would call it. 80 to 85 kept visit percentage, 90, 95 show up rate. And sometimes that would drop to 85, 90 show up rate. Well, what we found is there's this group of people that wasn't going to come in today that wants to. You know, they're scheduled for Tuesday, but they realize that they can't come in Tuesday. They should come on Monday. And then there's a group of people that they really know that they want to come in today, but they don't want to call you, and they're not going to just show up. And they're like, they're usually busy. So if I call them, I got to call them when they're open, and then hopefully they answer and I could talk to them. But they're only open from 10 to noon, and then they're only open from 2 to 5. And I want to come in from 2 to 5, but I can't call them between 10 and noon. You know, like that's the scenario. So now what we see is our kept visit percentage improves just because we send them a reminder. So nobody forgets, you know, like if they don't show up, it's either they forgot, they don't value care, or they knew they couldn't come in and they didn't take the time to tell you. Those are like the 3 reasons. So they didn't forget anymore because now they get a reminder 24 hours advance via text. 98% of people see it within a minute. We know they have an appointment. That just goes away as an excuse. The other one is value, and that's just, you know, internal to the office. Like we know if our show up rate goes down and it's a value thing, now we have to, you know, build and create agreements and all of that. But what we found is now that they can see availability real time today, and they can see green, yellow, red, like is it busy, kind of busy, or not so busy at those specific times, we'll get 10% of our average scheduled volume coming in that day that schedules and comes in that same day. That makes up the other people that were no-showing or might have no-showed and not told us. So we have a 99.8% show-up rate. And this is measured over years, guys. Like we had 80,000, 82,000 or 83,000 visits in 2023. And that was a 99.8% show-up rate out of 82,000 visits over the year. And 10% of those were people that used the app and scheduled during the day, same day that they weren't scheduled first thing in the morning. So it's just creating this whole other funnel of ability for people to get into the practice the same day. And we know that it's not going to screw us up or overbook us because there's specific slots available, and it accurately schedules them. And what that has done is we can just rely when we come in on Monday and there's 100 people on the schedule, we're going to see 100 people today. 99 of those, you know, we're going to see 99, anywhere between 99 and 102. I don't really care that you know, I know I'm not going to see 100 of the 100 that came in, but pretty accurately, we know what we can predict and what we can count on. And now we can even see how many are scheduled for next week. And we know if there's 1,500 scheduled for next week, we're going to see 1,500 next week, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. And I mean, I know as a user that's only one area where there's a possible return, you know, so that's cool. We've seen that too. Like we had pretty much the exact same metrics as you on the front end of using SKED in terms of our show rate and our stick rate or our the people that arrive for their appointments on that day.
Yeah.
And we've seen that, you know, change. So we've appreciated that component for sure.
And you look at the value of that, Kale, like, you know, if you can get one person a day to show up that otherwise wouldn't have because you made their experience more convenient.
Yeah.
One adjustment a day, if you're at $50, you're talking $250 a week. You're talking $1,000 a month by getting one person a day to show up. Like it for sure does that, you know?
Yes. Yeah, that's a safe bet. Yeah. So, you know, I'm curious, you know, considering what's important next, right? As you look at the challenges that the profession faces, at the sort of needs of the profession in the future, how is SKED sort of preparing docs for that? How are we preparing people for the future with SKED?
You know, this industry's changed so much in the last few years. And if you're listening to this and you use a texting platform, you know, your patients rely on that texting. Like they count on it. Yeah. So if your messaging is down for a day, I guarantee your show up rate will go down. People will not show up if they don't get their text messages. So that means it's mission critical to your office. And if our company is providing that mission critical service, it has to work. I looked this up last year. If SKED was down for one day, it would cost our clients around $1.5 to $2 million a day in lost revenue. So that can't happen.
Yes.
And so when you're looking at texting, a lot of these companies are relying on other companies to provide that texting service. They don't care about chiropractic. Like chiropractors sending text message reminders, they're worried about other industries sending millions of messages a month. So if there's a problem, they're gonna help whoever's their biggest volume clients are. I'm sorry to say right now, chiropractors aren't their biggest volume clients, but that's our business. So we have invested an enormous amount of resources and team to make sure that mission critical product works. And if it goes down and something happens, we rectify that as soon as possible. And I think there's a big value in that, and knowing that we're a partner with you in your business, and we know how important it is that your system works. And so we're just constantly not only making sure it's reliable, but looking ahead at what's coming in the future. And we're already building out things that are going to be launching in 2025 that are just going to change the game for how we communicate with patients and how they can communicate with us on just a way more convenient level. It's a fun business to be in.
Oh, that's cool, man. I really appreciate your heart for the profession, for our CEO listeners, and what you're doing with SKED. I really appreciate it. You've shared some awesome gems with our crew today, so thank you for that. I'm looking forward to getting this out to our crew of Remarkables. I'm curious if there's folks that are listening that want to know, like, what do I do next? How do I take the next step? How do I get in touch? What's the best way for a listener to learn more? How do they reach out? How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, great question. Our website is www.sked.life, sked.life, life. It's great. You'll find a lot of information on there, but I would say you need to schedule a demo call with our team and just spend 15, 20 minutes telling us, how do you run your practice? What are your biggest pain points? What are you struggling with? I want to save my team time. I want to make it more convenient for my patients. I want more Google reviews. I want to drive more new patients. I want to improve my retention. I want to improve my conversion. Like, what is the main thing? And then my team can say, out of the 100 things that SKED does, here's the 3 that would change the game for you the fastest. Yeah. And our onboarding experience, guys, within 2 weeks, you could be like live with something that's actually helping you improve those main pain points. So I'd say go to the website, schedule a call, talk to our team, see how we can help you. That would be the best way to check us out.
Awesome. We'll drop that into the show notes too. And I really appreciate you taking the time today, Erik. It's awesome to connect with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next immersion.
Yes, absolutely.
That'll be cool, man. Have a remarkable day, brother. Thanks you.
Thanks so much. See you guys.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic. And what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Now go and be remarkable.